think about what they've done, and as I said, they'll more often than not they'll make some vast improvements. But that was amazing, 8/10.
It is amazing the way that they've managed to turn the situation around. Honestly, I think Red Bull have been an incredible team all year long. Besides the fact that they maybe didn't have the outright pace all year, they still, performed as a team at a very, very high level. And the things that they're doing back at base, in between sessions, overnight, they are really, really strong. And you can see just from the sheer amount of complaints that Max was feeding back to the team during the sprint race, where he finished 6th, to now, I mean, that lap was almost perfect. It was so much more stable than it was in the sprint.
Oh, where did the extra time come from?
Well, I mean, the track has continued to evolve, of course, since FP1 all the way through, and we've got sprint. We've got the F2 here as well. They've had their sprint race. It all continues to clear the track of the dust. It continues to evolve. But he was, like Naomi said, that was as close to perfection as you can ever get, or wish to have in an F1 car around this track. And he was inch perfect, millimetre perfect at points around the lap, carrying momentum. Clearly, they've done a great job at Red Bull working on the setup of the cars. These are complex machines these days to absolutely get as close to perfection with the setup. So, yeah, hats off to that was a great team effort and perfected masterclass from Verstappen.
Look, it might be a factor, might not. We'll ask Christian. He's just about to arrive now, but just to preempt it, I mean, I know we sheltered here a little bit in the paddock, but certainly the wind seems to have dropped since when we were out there ahead of the sprint earlier when it was blowing a gale.
Yeah, earlier during the sprint session, especially when we were standing on the grid, the wind was blowing really a lot more than it was at the beginning of the session. I think in here, as you say, we're more protected, but still it's about which car has the most wow. I think Max usually handles those conditions quite well. Someone's
in a good mood. I'm not surprised, really. You turned it round there. We were speculating. Just tell us, 8/10, the difference between him there and in sprint qualifying.
Yeah, look, I mean, a great turnaround. I think, the engineers and the team back in Milton Keynes, they've worked very hard. They've got a good setup on the course. Immediately felt, his first comment was it feels better, and then he's just gone out and delivered in the most spectacular way. So, a great turnaround.
Yeah, Christian, it looked like the car had very good rear stability. Is that something that was missing earlier on? And if so, what changed with the car? And at what time did it change with the car to make it look so sweet on the rear? Every time he got in power, he just had the drivability he needed.
Well, look, I mean, we pretty much threw the kitchen sink at it, and pretty much everything you could change, we did change. So, and of course, you never know if it's all going to come together in a balance, and it did, and he was able to really nail it. We really struggled yesterday, turn 1, turn 2, and particularly the last turn, a little bit at 7 as well, and those corners suddenly came alive for us. First sector, suddenly he's setting purple sectors through all 3, qualifying sessions. And that last lap, it was neck and neck with George going into that last turn, and he nailed the last corner, and it was just good enough.
There must have already been a lot of understanding last night when you guys looked at the data of what you could potentially change, but being under those parc fermé conditions, that can't change until after the sprint race. So from session to session, are you seeing that things are changing a lot? I know there's, the track evolves a lot, but also the wind's been doing lots of different things.
Well, it's very windy. The conditions are significantly different. It's so much cooler, so that played a factor. We made some changes to Checo's car, taking him out of parc fermé because he was at the back of the grid anyway, so that gave us a little bit of information, and then obviously we were able to add to that and make big changes going into that quali.
Was the car geared more towards this qualifying session? How do you think it's going to perform in race conditions tomorrow?
I think it's just a net improvement. I think just in these conditions, I think we've just got the car into a happier window, and so yeah, it's so cold that getting tyre temp and being able to look after those tyres is going to be, again, crucial tomorrow.
Quick one, though. I mean, under investigation with the stewards, or at least with the stewards at the moment, and that was potentially impeding George Russell. I don't know if we've got the incident to have a look at, but we'll try and dig it out for you. Yeah, here it is. Here it is here. I mean...
I think this is on an outlap where they're all warming tyres up, so it's not a time lap.
Yeah, so I haven't... Yeah, I was going to jump in because it was actually on Russell's second outlap, so he'd done. They were doing 2 warm-ups. So he's on a new set of tyres, and although it looks like he is on full attack, he's actually on a second outlap. So I think you'll be okay.
Well, theoretically, I mean, he's pushing those corners to generate tyre temperature at that point. I think his first sector was a long way off, so they're just building up.
And I think, I forget now, if my memory serves me right, I think there was another car in front of Max, so he was probably wanting to get a gap there. And,
I think Fernando was in that little train as well. So So yeah, look, it'll go to the stewards. Hopefully, it should be all right.
Well, Christian, it's all smiles on one side of the garage. That was already a significant improvement for Checo than yesterday. But he keeps talking about how, you know, you're only as good as your last race, and I think he keeps wanting to reprove himself. So with so little time left on track this season, what does he need to do? What can he still do to save himself?
Look, I mean, he's had a better session there. I mean, obviously getting into Q3 is a real positive, considering certainly earlier in the day and his day yesterday. The delta's still significant, but yeah, that's progress for Checo. So hopefully he can have a good race from there, and you know, we'll keep pushing as hard as we can all the way to the Checo flag in Abu Dhabi.
Well, Christian, appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very
Max
much.
Verstappen on pole position is first since Austria. On the subject of Checo Perez, here he is.
How much better do you feel at the end of the day than at the start of the day?
I think we made some good progress, which is positive. I really hope that tomorrow we will have the pace, you know, in the race, which is the main race, and of course we want to be scoring some good points.
What's a sort of a good outcome, you think, tomorrow? It's not easy to overtake here, so you have to have relatively conservative hopes.
Yeah, I really hope that we will be able to go all the way through the pack and score some good points, you know, because the pace was a lot more promising in qualifying. I think the direction we went with the car, it's promising, so hopefully tomorrow we will have that good pace.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Still 9/10 off his teammate, but he got into Q3, which is more than can be said for a number of qualifying sessions in recent races, and therefore that in itself is cause for a little bit of optimism for the Mexican driver.
Yes, I guess that's all we can say at this point. He made it through. It's still 9/10 of a gap to his teammate, but we know that Sergio Perez is an unhappy driver in that car. There's something about him in that car that just don't gel. He doesn't seem to unlock whatever confidence he may have in himself as a driver piloting this car, and it must be super frustrating. I can't imagine what it's like to turn up to work every day and constantly feel like you're a second off the pace from your teammates.
Repeatedly being kicked in the head, it must feel like at times.
And we struggle to find positive things to say, and it's not a nice position to be in. You don't want to constantly be, you know, saying negative things about Checo, but it's very difficult to find good things to say about his performance this season, and unfortunately that's just the reality of the situation.
It must be soul destroying for him every time getting into the car. Instead of thinking, oh, you know, I can really take the fight, maybe I'll be on pole position today, every time you step in the car thinking, I wonder how much distance I'm going to be behind this time. Well, it's at 9/10 today.
Take a short break. When we come back, we'll get the views of the McLaren team, Ross Andre Stella, also Toto Wolff.
Well, Nando, bit of a surprise how Max performed today. What about from your
Not a
perspective?
surprise at all.
No, why not?
When have they ever been bad the whole season?
They didn't look good earlier, though,
You know,
did they?
it's
No.
a surprise that they were slow yesterday, not a surprise that they're quick today.
Okay, fair enough. What about tomorrow then? Can you still fight for the win, do you think?
I think so. I don't think we're quite as quick as what they were today. I don't think I could have done the same lap times as them today. So as a qualifying car, I think we were a little bit off, and we didn't quite have the same potential as what the Mercedes and the Red Bull had. But I'm hoping it kind of comes back to us in the race just a little bit. So hard to know. It's fine margins. But I'm hoping tomorrow plays a little bit back into our hands again.
I mean, you need to gain 15 points on Ferrari to clinch the title. Will you be getting that information during the race, or are you just running your race, basically? How's it play out?
I mean, we're just going to get the most points we can.
And that's it. Good luck. Yeah. Well, Oscar, was that a surprise not to be a little bit higher up, or not really?
A little bit, yes. I think we felt like we were going to have a good pace, and everyone kind of took a bit of a step towards the end of Q2 and Q3, and we just struggled to get much more out of it. I'm honestly happy with the lap I did. I thought it was pretty solid. I don't think there was many things I could have improved. So I think walking away from that, pretty happy with my performance. Just not quite quick enough as a team, I think.
George looked quick in the sprint race today and obviously starts ahead, and Max seems to have improved a lot. You don't need to win it tomorrow. You might. There's a chance. Have you just got to, again, take points out of Ferrari? Is that the bottom line?
I mean, if we can win the race, we'll try and win the race.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, Russell's pace this morning or earlier today was very quick. Max, we'll see. But we'll see what kind of race it is tomorrow as well. So, of course, the first aim is beating Ferrari, but if we can win the race and win the championship tomorrow, then why wouldn't we try?
Good, thank you.
Well, Andrea, will you take that, even though we've seen the resurgence of Red Bull in the weekend? Will you take it with the Ferraris behind you?
Yes, definitely. I will. This result, while you obviously would have preferred to be pole position. To be honest, we realized pretty soon in this qualifying session that today it was a little more tricky than yesterday in terms of being able to put laps together. I think yesterday, actually, when we were very competitive in the sprint Q1 and sprint Q2, we were on medium tires. On the soft tires, it was already a little more tricky. I think yesterday Russell was very close to pole position, and today we have to say hats off to Russell and Verstappen that managed to find a bit more pace in their car and put together good laps. When it comes to us in Q3, it was, like I say, not straightforward. With Lando we had a problem with the first set, then we went on to the second set and we had a little problem at the first lap of the second set, so actually being P3 at some stage looks like it's a good result, because it was up until the last attempt we were P10 with Lando and P7 or whatever with Oscar. So good result overall with thinking about the championship and a good starting position for tomorrow.
Okay, that covers it all very nicely. Thank you very much, Andrea.
It does, and they're not going to be too dissatisfied with that. Whereas when we talked Jensen to Christian, he said they'd had to throw the kitchen sink at that Red Bull to turn things around. I wonder if they were just happy with their lot and thinking, okay, don't need to make too many, I don't need to tweak too many things.
Well, I think the issue is, I think that Lando in the race, in the sprint race, probably wasn't pushing to the maximum, so they couldn't really find the negatives with the car. It just felt good, I'm sure, because he wasn't able to push to the limit because he was looking after his teammate behind. So yeah, probably didn't get the perfect read on it. They're still not slow. I think they're going to have a quick race car, but no, I think a very impressive lap by Max and by Red Bull. I mean, that's a massive turnaround from yesterday's qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. With regards to Ferrari, though, here it's just quite simple. This is one of those circuits that suits the traits of the McLaren more than it does that of the Scuderia.
Exactly, and I was going to say for McLaren, it's one of those things as well where if it ain't broken, don't fix it, right, as Lando would probably say. When you're out front, it's easier to make a mistake and go in the wrong direction, whereas for Ferrari here, they could have probably taken a little bit of a gamble. They lost significant points to McLaren earlier today in the sprint, so they really are going into the final part of the season on the back foot in terms of points, so you could take a little bit of a risk there, but whatever they have done hasn't made enough of a difference. But again, in the race tomorrow, things could be completely different. Let's wait to see what it's like when the McLarens are both in turbulent air. It's going to be a longer race tomorrow as well.
Don't want to jinx it, but they're nearly there, aren't they, for McLaren? If you're a McLaren fan at home, you're thinking, right, okay, well, everything really, they're going to have a healthy lead. If they can finish as they start tomorrow, that will be a very comfortable cushion going into the final race.
Yeah, it's a healthy lead, but yeah, it won't win, and I'm sure they'd like to get it tied up before the last race of the season, because there's so much more pressure on everyone's shoulders there. But yeah, I think the big points maybe will be taken by other people. So no, I think we've got a great race on our hand tomorrow. Obviously, it doesn't seem to be a lot of degradation, which is a shame. We all like a bit of deg. Yeah. But there'll be lots to play for, I think, around the pit stop times.
A 1-2 and they win it tomorrow. That's that.
A 1-2 and they win it, but I have to say they do have Max and George in front, who both, I don't think, leave the door open whenever they can make sure it's closed. They do, so it's going to be a challenge for the two McLarens to get past, but they will be working together, so who knows what way that can give them an advantage as well.
Okay, let's hear from the Ferrari camp, starting with Charles.
Qualified pretty much where the car could have got to today.
Yeah, I felt like I've done a really good job. With both of the laps were really good. We're on the limit, but it was just not enough. So yeah, it's the way it is. We have to maximize the points on a weekend, which have been a bit difficult for us, but I feel like we've maximized everything today. But now everything is to play for tomorrow in the race, and that's where the points are scored. And in the sprint race we were pretty strong, so that's positive, but we are starting behind, so that's negative.
Yeah, but is it a positive though? At least they don't look invincible now, McLaren, based on that. I mean, you can hope to maybe fight them, possibly take points off them here, which may be coming in here you didn't expect to.
Yeah, that's true. We've got to it was a surprise for us to be so close to McLaren. It was a surprise, though, to us as well that Red Bull and Mercedes were so strong. So at the end of the day, even if we finish in front, we probably won't be scoring as many points as we want. But we've got to focus on ourselves, and then we'll see whether it's enough or not. But tomorrow, we have an opportunity to finish in front. But the start will be important, because after that, it's very difficult to overtake.
Thank you. For a long time qualifying, then Q3 seemed all about tyre preparation. How was yours in that session?
It was tricky, even though we did quite a few changes to the car and to the tyres. We're still 2-3 tenths off from pole. I also missed a bit of a toe in the last lap, which should have given me a bit of a more speed down the straights. But you know, it's I think it's just more or less where we expect it to be. The car is clearly not at its best in a track like this, like we warned before coming here, but the race is tomorrow, and we prefer to see how tomorrow goes before taking too many conclusions.
Yeah, at least Max and Mercedes might stop possibly McLaren winning. I mean, if you can keep it in play till Abu Dhabi, is that something? The longer you're involved, I suppose the chance might come your way as a team.
Definitely, that's why we need to keep it. You know, under control. Tomorrow we still are in that fight, and there's going to be things happening. There's many cars around. It's super tight. There's going to be a lot going on. So let's wait and see tomorrow and see how it goes, because I have hopes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're still unsure, of course, what's going to happen in the race with the tyres and the graining, because, you know, as I said, the loads that are getting put through the tyres on this particular circuit, when a tyre drops off, it goes, doesn't it?
It does, and that was one of the biggest issues for Ferrari in Vegas as well. They did really suffer with graining, although the conditions here are completely different and the graining is being caused for other reasons. It could still be a concern of theirs. Other than that, they've got a mountain to climb tomorrow. Nothing is impossible. They're still in it with a chance, but look, with Sainz a little bit further down, Leclerc, I mean, they were quicker. The gaps are small, but it's going to be a tough mission for them to take this constructors.
Quick one, just on track driver standards, effectively, and what they've got here with the little gravel traps on the outside of the curbs, working quite well, actually, aren't they? I mean, what's your... Do you like to see them in more areas?
It is. You're still seeing lap times taken away, which is a bit of a surprise. So people are still gaining an advantage by driving off the track. But yeah, I do like the laps, because you really see when someone's driven off the track.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little embarrassing. You know what I mean? It's cute when you put it off the track. But no, and most of the time it does slow you down, which is a positive. The only negative is kicking the stones behind you into other people.
Okay, let's just hear from Lewis Hamilton. They've actually gone to see the stewards because of that potential unsafe release, but with Carlos Sainz. But here is the British driver.
The car looks a little bit of a hand plummet. There was a lap in Q2, you kind of lifted your hand up, but ultimately, are you glad it's only one more Saturday to go with this car, Lewis, or not? Yeah.
Indeed.
You can't get your head around it. Is it that, basically, because it feels all right when you do a better lap? I mean,
I can't explain why I'm half a second off my teammate. It's never happened really in my career, so I can't explain that. What I can say is the car felt generally fine for me. There's not really much more I can add. I've given it absolutely everything, and the laps are generally feeling good. I just come across the line and it's slow.
Okay. It was nice to see you and Charles race today, and you line up next to him. Can you race him in the Grand Prix? It was a very respectful exchange between the two of you, and that's typical of him in terms of your experience of racing him.
I don't really remember racing Charles much, if I'm really honest. I don't really know. I don't recall many races that we've had, like battles that we've had, but it was super fair, and I think we both were. I mean, I should have blocked him and tried to keep him behind, but I didn't. If I'm in the same position tomorrow, then it won't happen again, but I'm hoping that hoping with the changes I made, maybe we'll have a little bit more pace tomorrow.
Good luck, thank you.
Yeah, one more Saturday to go, but two more Sundays, and Lewis was good on Sunday last week in Las Vegas. He got to surely take some heart from that. 10th to 2nd, he reckoned if he'd been on pole like George, he would have it easy.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think yesterday he mentioned the same thing about just being a little bummed out about how low he qualifies, because then it makes his chances of winning just that much more difficult. But from what we just heard there, it sounds like he may have slightly geared his car towards tomorrow's race. He thinks he might have more pace in the car tomorrow than he even had today, but he really does come alive on a race day. So let's watch and see if we have a smile on his face at the end of tomorrow.
Yeah, in the sprint race, it didn't look so good, did it? But as you said, he's hopefully made some positive changes for the race. It's a tricky one, though, for the strategists, for the drivers, to try and work a way around this DRS train, which we're going to have at the start of the race. So luckily we don't have two of the same team at the front, so they can't play the game. And we'll get some better racing out there, hopefully.
Hopefully. Right, we'll wrap things up when we come back. We'll also look ahead to race 1 of the weekend.